Good, happy Wednesday morning, May 18, 2022. I'm Riley King. Welcome to this morning news update right here on the Riley King Radio Network. Let's get started right now. First up, sketch released of person of interest in shooting deaths of Concord couple. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
What does it take to be the best? It takes guts, grit.
Investigators have released this sketch of a male who they are calling a person of interest in the murders of Wendy and Stephen Reed of Concord 1 month ago.
It's a depiction that we were confident enough in to bring to your attention.
The Reeds were last heard from on April 18th when they left their apartment for a walk on the broken ground trails off Portsmouth Street. Their bodies found shot to death off the Marsh Loop Trail 3 days later. Investigators say the person of interest was seen near the vicinity of the murders on the 18th, described as a white male in his late 20s or early 30s, about 5 feet 10 inches tall, of medium build with short brown hair and clean shaven, seen wearing a dark blue jacket, possibly hooded, khaki pants, carrying a black school-sized backpack.
So a person of interest is someone who the police believe may have information related to the crimes as either a witness or a suspect.
They won't say how they got the description, whether they believe these were random killings or the Reeds were targeted, nor will they comment on a motive, citing the need to protect the integrity of the investigation.
At this stage, it's important that there's information that's only known to investigators and to the killer. That allows us to consider the credibility and evaluate the credibility of information that comes in and to prevent, any witness tampering.
They ask anyone who may know that man or have information about him to contact Concord Police or the Concord Regional Crime Line. They say tips are already coming in today since that sketch was released. For more on that, we go to my colleague Tim Callery.
And Jen, more than 170 tips have been made in this case. The Attorney General's office says dozens more were called in today shortly after that sketch of the person of interest was released. Now, officials say some of those tips have actually been helpful in this investigation, although they would not get into specifics about what those tips involve. Now, the reward for information leading to the arrest and indictment of the person or persons responsible for the deaths of Stephen and Wendy has grown significantly, from $5,000 to $33,500. The reward is made up of donations from the community as well as current and retired law enforcement officers. $20,000 of that reward was donated by an anonymous donor who has pledged the funds for only those who come forward with information within the next 60 days.
I think what we obviously hope that it means is that it will be an impetus for anyone who is, for whatever reason, held back to this point to come forward with any information they have, with any information about this individual depicted in the sketch, and certainly speaks to the fact that the community and law enforcement and my office as well obviously want this case to be solved.
And so if you have any information that could help solve this case, you are asked to call the Concord Regional Crime Line. Their number is running at the bottom of your screen, 603-226-3100. Reporting live in Concord, I'm Tim Callery, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Mothers unit to bring each other relief in baby formula shortage. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
What does it take to be the best? It takes guts.
The last, 5 or so months has been a living nightmare.
Paige Maloney, a mom from Pelham, says she spent time searching for formula within a 100-mile radius, recently even farther. Now, she shares moms are taking to social media, posting their child's needs and location. One of these moms had just what she needed.
Refused to charge me because she just sympathized and knew exactly how I felt and how all of the other mothers are feeling, in the sense of, we don't know how we're going to feed our babies.
We're not going to stop focusing on this 24/7 until the problem is entirely solved until every parent who needs infant formula for their child can get it without having to worry.
The Surgeon General says the administration isn't just focusing on one avenue. He says they're aiming to get formula onto shelves, importing it from other countries, and safely reopening the Michigan plant shut down in February.
There are parts of the country which have enough supply of formula, and there are others that don't. And so we've also been working with the retailers to make sure we distribute that formula. So areas that are experiencing scarcity.
Now, Maloney has this to say to parents, anxiously waiting for production to pick up.
You're doing everything in your power, and to get the means to feed your children and to just keep pushing on, because there are moms out there that want to help you.
And the Surgeon General says if your child uses a certain brand of formula, it is okay to change to another. If it's a specialty formula, he recommends reaching out to a doctor. He says do not make your own DIY version. Reporting live, Grace Feinerman, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. National Weather Service confirms tornado struck Charlestown. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
What does it take to be the best? It takes guts.
A driver captured the incredible video last night of a tornado barreling down Route 12 in Charlestown.
And I literally watched all the trees going down like dominoes.
In all, the National Weather Service estimates close to 1,000 trees were uprooted or snapped in half.
Crack, 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 crack. It goes right from there all the way down. I mean, yep, the whole tree just toppled over and all the roots and everything.
Officials say the tornado reached the strength of an EF1 with a top wind speed of 90 miles per hour. Today, the National Weather Service toured the damage from Charlestown to Claremont, a path of at least a mile.
They do happen in May. This is really the beginning of the season. When we get them in June, it's a little less common, definitely in May, but they do occur.
Crews worked through the day to clear the roads as the bulk of the issues were caused by trees falling on power lines and streets. But for some, it was a closer call. A tree hit the bedroom window where Walter Sombrick's kids were inside.
Kids were freaking out, and I went upstairs, checked on them, and they were just like in a daze.
And for Amber Coda, a tree smashed through their bedroom wall. She's grateful it didn't happen later.
We would have been sleeping, and our youngest daughter, she's only one, she's still in there with us, and it was right above where her bed was.
Now, some scary moments right there. The fire chief telling us tonight that 20 utility poles had to be replaced, but most importantly, no reports of any injuries. Reporting live in Charlestown, Mike Cronin, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Trial begins for New Hampshire man accused of killing man, ordering wife to behead him. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Mainly Tubbs is celebrating 44 years of delivering relaxation, and that means huge savings for you.
That's right, Jen. Brittany Barone was released on parole last month. She agreed to testify in this trial against her husband as part of that plea deal. She admitted to the court that after he was dead, she decapitated Jonathan Amerault because her husband, Armando, forced her to. In a surprise move today, before the defense opening statement, Armando Barone admitted to 2 counts of assault and 2 counts of domestic violence. The jury was bused to a wooded park in Jaffrey this morning. This is where prosecutors say Armando Barone used his wife's phone to lure Jonathan Amerault for a late-night meeting. When he arrived, the prosecution says Armando Barone assaulted and tortured him. Brittany stood on his neck, and Armando stomped on his head, slashed his wrists, and then shot him. But the defense told the jury Brittany is not a victim forced to do this violence. The defense says Brittany is the villain who maimed and killed Jonathan Amerault.
The wrong person is on trial for the murder of Jonathan Amerault. Brittany and Brittany alone stood on Jonathan Amerault's neck, slashed his wrists, and ultimately shot him multiple times, resulting in his death.
So he made Brittany participate in John's torture.
the ultimate display of jealousy, of anger, and of control. He ordered Brittany to kill John. And when she couldn't do it, when she wouldn't do it, the defendant ordered her to strangle John, to stand on his throat.
Jonathan Amaralt's mother was the first witness in this murder trial. She told the court he was her only child. Her testimony was gut-wrenching. The trial resumes tomorrow. It is scheduled to last 3 weeks. We're live in Keene. Amy Cavino, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Tractor-trailer driver indicted in New Hampshire. State trooper's death. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Mainly Tubbs is celebrating 44 years of delivering relaxation, and that means huge savings for you.
Tom J. Palmaderos has been indicted on a charge of negligent homicide and reckless conduct with a deadly weapon. Medeiros is accused of driving the tractor-trailer that crashed into a New Hampshire State Police cruiser, killing Staff Sergeant Jesse Sherrill back in October. Court documents say that Medeiros ingested marijuana within a period of at most 3 days and was storing marijuana in the cab of the truck. Sherrill was working a paving detail on I-95 in Portsmouth at the time. He had served his community in law enforcement for 20 years and left behind a wife and 2 kids. Medeiros is set to be arraigned next month, and we are expecting to get more information on this case. Of course, we will keep you updated with the very latest as soon as it comes in. Reporting live in the studio, Monica Hernandez, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. 11 new COVID-19 deaths reported in New Hampshire as cases continue to rise. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Mainly Tubbs is celebrating 44 years of delivering relaxation, and that means huge savings for you.
There are just over 4,600 confirmed cases of COVID-19 in New Hampshire tonight. That includes 513 new cases reported by DHHS today. There are 11 additional deaths in the latest update. COVID-positive patients in hospitals are up to 123. 43 of them are receiving COVID-specific treatment.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for the morning news update right here on the Riley King Radio Network. Thank you for tuning in and watching this morning news update. Goodbye.